Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Rave's Wrestling Reviews. My name is Rave, and today we will be doing an actual, honest review, like I said, to the first pay-per-view that I'm going to review is actually the very first wrestling event I ever went to. Backlash 2002, live at Kemper Arena, Kansas City, Missouri. And if you see periodic cuts, that's because I'm literally recording that segment after I get done watching the match or, segment or whatever. It just makes it a lot easier. So, to start out, we get a package talking about the big main event. Hulk Hogan versus Triple H for the WWF Undisputed Championship. The backstory is Hogan has this big match with The Rock at WrestleMania. Crowd is on it. Hogan's supposed to be the heel here, but Hogan gets a big pop from the crowd. The Hogan. So so they book him as this face, and Triple H, having just come back off of tearing his quad after almost a year out, missed the whole Invasion arc, which he might have made it a little bit more enjoyable. But so there's that big build up on SmackDown a couple weeks prior. You've got him and you've got Vince McMahon making Hulk Hogan the number one contender for the Undisputed Championship. Triple H goes on in the package about how he wants how he's gonna have to kill a little piece of his childhood growing up a big Hogan fan who wasn't back in those days. And so so there's that whole video package is the build up for it. We get the pyro, which I'm off on stage left. I'm off to the left of the stage as I'm facing you. I'm off to that part of the stage, and I'm covering my ears because I hated pyro. I hated the fireworks. Really underestimated how loud it was going to get. Anyway, so we get that. There was a pre-show match against it was a handicap match. Steven Richards and I believe it was Just Incredible versus The Big Show. It was a squash match over 5 seconds. I mean, honestly, I felt bad for him. I was covering my ears during the Big Show pyro because, like I said, I did not like pyro back in those days. And I can deal with it now, but that's 17 years ago, just to put it in perspective. So there was that match. Nothing to write home about. It was a squash match over within like 2 minutes. Opening bout of the night was Tajiri with Tori Wilson versus Billy Kidman for the WWF Undisputed Championship. And the match was actually pretty good. There was some really good spots that obviously I couldn't see squat from where I was. Because I was over there by the stage. I couldn't see anything. But, so they... so the big story is Tajiri is kind of made Tori Wilson his girlfriend, slave, I don't know what you would call it. So Tajiri is the heel here. This whole thing's been going on for a couple of months. So he's facing off against Kidman for the Cruiserweight Championship. The match didn't disappoint in terms of the pacing of it. Obviously, you've got Tajiri being the Japanese buzzsaw with the kicking, and there were some good shots. He got some good shots in. He about halfway through the match nailed the tarantula. There were some spots on the outside where Tajiri basically lifted him up, face planted him right into the barricade. Got a huge pop from the crowd. Billy Kidman goes up for the shooting star press. Tajiri moves. Tajiri drills him with that buzzsaw kick. Kidman kicks out of it. Kidman got that crap kicked out of him, literally. Tajiri was working the back, did a standing double foot stomp onto his back, gave him the old back wrench folded his back up against the ring post. Lots of a lot of good, interesting spots. Definitely told a bit of a story here. You know, you could tell that Tajiri was very methodical. Obviously, he's got those kicks. Billy Kidman, he's not your stereotypical high flyer. He's definitely fast moving, but he doesn't really use the top rope a whole lot. It's one thing that you'll notice about Billy Kidman if you go back to watch any of his matches. So at one point he goes for the shooting star press, misses. A little while later, just drills him with the buzzsaw kick that right to the side of the head. Kidman kicks out of it. The match ends on Billy Kidman's got him up for a powerbomb. Tajiri drills him with that miss, pins him 1, 2, 3. Game over. Tajiri wins the Cruiserweight Championship. And now would be a good time to explain how I'm going to rate matches. Lower tier is going to be a jobber. You've got your low card. You've got your low card. You've got your lower mid card. You've got your mid card, upper mid card, and heavyweight championship. So I'm kind of going off of the championship scale. This match is for the opener. This match is without a doubt probably mid card, upper mid card. It's not quite there, but like I said, it was still a rock solid match for an opener. Action all over the place. So yeah, it in my mind, in terms of my rating scale, it's definitely mid card, upper mid card. Next match on the card is Bradshaw versus Scott Hall, of all people. Fun fact about this match: this would be one of Scott Hall's last matches in WWE, believe it or not. So because Scott Hall would be involved in the plane ride from hell. So this would ultimately be, I believe, his last match on pay-per-view. So next match on the card, Bradshaw versus Scott Hall. Not much of a story behind it here. You get Farouk with reuniting with Bradshaw after the whole brand extension. They're on debt-free cards. This is pre-JBL Bradshaw, so this is your rough and tumble APA deal. I believe this was the first pay-per-view after the whole brand extension, the split, so teams are getting split up constantly. You got Scott Hall, NWO still. He comes to the ring with X-Pac, who's wearing Kane's mask, because that whole deal is going on with those two. Kane got the crap kicked out of him by all three members of the NWO, X-Pac, Nash, and Hall. Nash was suspended indefinitely. Scott Hall wasn't in terrible shape for this match. You could definitely tell that he was getting a bit of a belly, but he wasn't in terrible shape. Bradshaw was working stiff. So the whole match, you could just tell that Bradshaw was putting, which is not, it's par for the course with Bradshaw. He's always working stiff. So you've also got Farouk that comes out before the match just to even the odds. This match, again, wasn't anything to write home about. Wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. Definitely a whole lot of interference from X-Pac. There was a spot where Hall exits the ring and Hall just backs up right into Farouk. The commentators, Jim Ross and Gary the King Lawler on commentary, by the way. I should start mentioning that. They were just And he just moves back. Like, it's one of those cases where don't turn around. Yeah, and then you've got X-Pac on the outside. There's a point in the match where they just where Farouk and X-Pac are chasing. Well, X-Pac's running like a tail with its tail between his legs, taunting Farouk. There's a point where X-Pac, towards the end of the match, X-Pac gets up on the ring. Bradshaw just decks him one, and Farouk just catches him and rams him right into the ring post. JBL hits the clothesline from hell. X-Pac puts his leg on there. A little while later, split like 30 seconds later, Scott Hall with the low blow rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of the match. Ideally, this match should have ended in disqualification with X-Pac interfering a couple of times. So I don't know what the whole deal with that was. This match could have been a little bit shorter. Not really much offense from Hall in the least. Bradshaw was carrying this match. It wasn't a terrible match, but it definitely wasn't a good one either. So on my rating scale, this is lower mid card, borderline jobber almost, but Bradshaw saves it. Next match on the card is Trish Stratus versus Jazz for the Women's Championship. This match is a good one. One of my favorite matches on the card. Obviously, Trish Stratus can go. Jazz is one of the best. She's actually been doing a lot lately on the. She's been doing a lot in the NWA lately, so this ought to be this match. You got two great women wrestlers going at it. What can you ask for? This was also back in the. Obviously, this is way before the whole women's revolution. Yeah. So before the match even starts, Trish does her entrance. Molly Holly comes out because the previous week on Raw, there's the number one contendership. Molly Holly looks like she's got one, but Trish reverses the roll up, grabs the tight, wins 1, 2, 3. So there's that to it. There was a segment before the match where Vince goes into Ric Flair's office. Ric Flair's the owner of Raw now, so goes in and talks about how no matter what he does for his employees, they're never grateful. Oh, so Molly Holly comes out, shoots a promo on Trish about how people don't want her, the women's champion, to flaunt her body or be a cheater. Even as an 11-year-old kid, I knew that was a lie. What? Even as a kid, I knew that was a lie. So Molly's like, they want our women's champion to be virtuous and pure. King, being the wisecracking guy he is, she's like, said something about Molly Holly being from the Virgin Islands. Not funny. The match, so Molly attacks Trish. They go at it behind the, outside of the ring, near the ramp. Molly just starts beating her up. They eventually, Molly reverses the Irish whip. Trish hurts her back. Jazz's entrance hit. She runs out. The match gets started on the way. Looks like it was going to be a pretty quick match at first. Trish puts up some offense. Really makes a comeback here. You can tell that she's hurting. She goes for there's a point where she goes for the Stratosphere, hits it. Jazz starts wailing. There's a lot of offense put up by Trish. She's putting up a good fight, despite the fact that she's getting the ever-loving crap beat out of her by Jazz. Jazz is throwing some punches. Trish goes for the Stratisfaction. Doesn't. Jazz reverses it into a back suplex. The end of the match is Jazz goes for a Boston Crab. She gets. Trish goes for the bottom row. Almost gets there. Jazz pulls back and goes for the STF. Trish taps. End of the match. This match is probably the weakest one of them all. Back-to-back matches, but this one's probably the worst of it. Not a whole lot going on. I think the match would have been better if they had gone with. I mean, I get it. Trish needed to make a comeback, put up all these shots. I get it. Make a comeback. But really, if the match had ended with Jazz it being a squash match, but then I don't think they wanted to go back squash matches because Lesnar versus Hardy being next, I believe. Yeah, Lesnar versus Hardy is the next match on the card. The Women's Championship match gets a lower mid card. It's definitely the weakest of the two matches. But what in my eyes made it a little bit better than the previous match, which was also pretty meh, was at least Trish was carrying her own. In the previous match, Bradshaw was the one dishing out all the offense. Hall really wasn't doing much at all, really. What killed it for me was the interference with Molly Holly. Either way, the two are on the same level. They're back-to-back both week matches. Next match, Jeff Hardy versus Brock Lesnar. It was supposed to be Matt Hardy versus Lesnar. Matt gets hurt. Jeff gets inserted into it. I'm not even gonna cut here. The match lasts 5 minutes. It's a squash match. It's to put Lesnar over as this big, brooding human being. They're really building him up in a way that we hadn't seen before, and really haven't seen since. This is Lesnar's rookie year. Later on in the year, they're building this guy up. Poor Jeff Hardy. It killed me inside to see this because I'm a Hardy Boy fan. So to see one of my favorite wrestlers get the ever-loving crap kicked out of him by Lesnar, oof, that was painful. This match gets a jobber rating out of me. It's a squash match, no doubt about it. Match lasts like 5 minutes. Hardly any offense put up by Jeff. It's quick. It's your squash match. The reason why it gets a jobber rating for me is I don't care for squash matches, despite the fact that it served its purpose of getting Lesnar over. But squash matches, it is what it is. This match gets a jobber rating for me. It served its purpose, but squash matches are squash matches. There's not really anything you can do here. So, yeah. Next match of the night. So, match of the night, by far, here it is. Edge versus Kurt Angle. These two go way back with Kurt, Christian, Edge, Rhino. Kind of the first team angle that they would explore later on. This was by far the match of the night. Little did I realize I was watching two of the best ever laced up. Obviously, Kurt's been in for a while. He's done it all. He had a phenomenal rookie year. This was Edge's really first single run. Obviously, the week before on SmackDown, you got the whole pictures going on. You got the whole pictures with the captions on the back hilarious. This match lived up to the hype. Like, if you were going to watch any match off of this pay-per-view, it's got to be this one. Edge versus Kurt Angle. Lots of back and forth. Both guys, great offense. A lot of technical stuff from Angle, obviously. They play up the whole Olympic gold medalist. And fun fact about this, I practiced for weeks getting my timing down on the You Suck. That I worked on my timing for like 2 weeks straight, getting my timing down for that. This, a lot of back and forth between the two, very evenly matched, which made this match extremely enjoyable for me and I think others to watch. It was two guys very evenly matched, going back and forth. There were a lot of near falls, like really near falls, like very split second, getting the shoulder up or getting the elbow up, breaking out of the count. Angle tries going for the ankle lock. Edge goes for the execution a couple of times. And like this is the quintessential Edge versus Kurt Angle match of this feud. Obviously, Kurt Angle still has hair for a couple of months, because later on in the year they do a hair versus hair match. Kurt Angle ends up losing, so he gets his head shaved. So that's why Kurt Angle's bald now. Obviously, male pattern baldness and all that. But this is kind of what led to it. He never did try to grow his hair back out of this. End of the match was Kurt. Kurt grabs a chair, tries going for it. Edge moves out of the way. Kurt hits himself off of the ricochet from the top rope. Edge hits the execution, kicks out. Edge is getting frustrated. Goes for the spear. Kurt just drills him with a boot. Hits the angle slam. 1, 2, 3. That's it. This match gets my heavyweight championship. Far and away best match of the night. You're not gonna find anything better. If you were going to watch a single match from this pay-per-view, this is it. Next match on the card is the Eddie Guerrero Rob Van Dam match. One of the matches I was looking forward to personally. This whole feud started. Eddie Guerrero came back recently, and this whole feud started over one thing: who is the master of the Frog Splash? Obviously, this is pre-face Eddie Guerrero. Eddie just come back after leaving the company for years, about a year or so, because of all kinds of issues that he was having. RVD, one of the shining spots of the invasion angle the previous year. RVD, this whole feud starts over the Frog Splash. This is what this feud is about. And of course RVD is over beyond all belief. I actually got an RVD shirt after this event. Sadly, I don't know where it was, otherwise I'd be wearing it right now. I was an RVD mark all the way. I mean, the match was still really good. It's not as good as the previous match. It's still rock solid. Like I said, this whole thing with RVD and Eddie started over the Frog Splash. That's ultimately what this is, and you do get a couple of them in the match. It's so good. Before the match starts, though, Jericho comes out, shoots a promo about how he feels disrespected that he doesn't have a match at Backlash, although this isn't the last time we will see Chris, because he says, oh yeah, I'm leaving the arena. See you in about 45 minutes there, Chris. There's RVD versus Agro. I know I'm jumping all over the place. Pardon me. This is going to be a long video. Because I'm not using any images. I'm not going footage. I'm not going to go down that route. I'm also working on my presentation. This match is also for the Intercontinental Championship. The match was solid. Of course, the match had a lot of technical and high-flying maneuvers from both guys. Obviously, RVD got that martial arts background, and Eddie is still one of the best, quote-unquote, cruiserweight wrestlers out there. He's a good he's definitely a chip off the old block. His family are all great luchadors. Match was solid. It's definitely upper mid card on my rating scale. Match ends. Eddie Guerrero drills him with the championship. Eddie hits the frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Guerrero is your new Intercontinental Championship. Again, it's that upper mid card match. Not quite World Championship tier, but it's still a rock solid match. Next match on the card is your number one contender spot, Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Two of the biggest stars from the Attitude Era. It was huge for me because little did I realize this would be one of Austin's last matches. I think he only wrestled for maybe a year after this, maybe a few months after this. Eventually, he had to retire. And Ric Flair is the special guest referee. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. It's Undertaker versus Stone Cold. Two guys who have had their clashes in the past. Ric Flair obviously being the big guy, being the big point of contention here with the special guest referee. It wasn't a terrible match by any means, but you can definitely tell that Austin, and this was definitely a case of not necessarily. They're still in their prime, but match just didn't wow me. Obviously, still seeing those two go at it. The only time I've seen either one of them live, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't big into Stone Cold, Austin 316, or The Undertaker. Any of those guys. Obviously, I had only been watching wrestling for 3.5, 4 years at this point. There were a few points in this match where Ric Flair gets knocked out or dazed or whatever, just so that these two can pull some dirty maneuvers. There's a chair involved quite a bit. Austin nails the stunner, but Ric Flair's out like a light. There is a bit of a dirty finish. They're right by the ropes, like literally almost laying right next to the ropes. Taker pins him 1, 2, 3, but Austin has the foot on the rope. Austin doesn't know what's going on. The match should have continued. The match gets mid-card to upper mid-card. The match was really, I just said it wasn't the best Undertaker Stone Cold match. It was the longest match of the night. It was mid-card, upper mid-card, that level. It was still two of the all-time greats going at it. I just wish there was less of these dirty maneuvers and just let these two go at it. Ric Flair being knocked out so that they could, use the chair, or there'd be a lot of weird spots like that. Again, it was a good match though. I really enjoyed it. Next match This was filler. You have Al Snow and Maven. Who remembers him? Versus Billy and Chuck for the tag team titles. Nothing to write home about. It wasn't a bad match, but it definitely wasn't good. This was just pure filler. Maven and Al Snow end up losing to Billy and Chuck. There's not really anything to say about this. It was really Maven, tough enough winner. He's teaming with one of his mentors, Al Snow. Just never worked out for Maven. He was one of those I was really disappointed with him on how he didn't work out. Matches on my lower borderline jobber. It was filler. Everybody knew that there was no way else knowing maybe we were going to win this because they were still doing a whole lead up with Billy and Chuck. Now we get to the main event. Hulk Hogan versus Triple H. The main event, and not a very good match. You could tell Hogan is well past his prime. Triple H is having to carry Hogan. There's a lot of interference by Chris Jericho. There's some interference by Chris Jericho and The Undertaker. Of course, everybody in the arena, with the exception of a few people. The only thing I really remember from the event, obviously, besides me being afraid of pyro, was the fact that my stepdad and I were talking with the guys in front. I'm a Hogan guy. All of them were rooting for Triple H. Everybody, of course, really, no way was Hogan not going to win this. I mean, it was an all right match. I mean, it's on my scale, it's a mid card. It was average. Hogan clearly, definitely past his prime. Could still go at this point. It wasn't looking rough. Just, he shouldn't have been in this match at all. I get what they were going for. I mean, Hulk Hogan wins the Undisputed Championship. He would only hold it for like 3 weeks before he drops it to The Undertaker, who won, the number one contender's title. He would end up losing it to Undertaker at Judgment Day. Overall, this pay-per-view, outside of the Edge and Kurt Angle match, not any really good matches on the card. Weakest match was probably the squash match. Jeff Hardy versus Brock Lesnar. Match of the night was Edge versus Kurt Angle. That match is a 5-star match. Highest, whatever you want to call it. My second favorite match had to have been probably the Cruiserweight. That match was really solid for a lead-in. The Women's Championship match, you got the two of the best women's wrestlers on that roster in the match. So there was that. The tag team match was whatever. Overall, out of a scale of 5, I give this thing a 3. The only thing that really saves this pay-per-view from being anything lower, because unfortunately the bad weighed out the good. I mean, the Lesnar Jeff Hardy match built up Lesnar as this big, hulking guy, this monster that they've tried since but never worked. I mean, look what they tried doing with Braun Strowman and it failed. Now he's in a program with freaking SNL guys. Paul Heyman was perfect for him. I just felt bad for Jeff Hardy having to put himself through that. The Cruiserweight match, like I said, probably my second favorite match of the night. The number one contenders match was a decent match. Again, the only thing bogged down on it was the fact that they had to have that they pulled some spots where Ric Flair gets knocked out so that they could. You can't just let those two go at it. You got two of the best in wrestling, whatever. So hopefully, I do apologize and try and get so many different camera angles I shoot myself at. Hopefully you guys, again, feel free to critique me. I know I need to work on my presentation a little bit better. Part of me wants to start writing scripts for these, but I'm always open to critique. This is the first time I've ever done this in this long of a format. Definitely going to try cutting out about 10 minutes from I'm going to try keeping these about 20-25 minutes in the future. Make sure you slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow on Twitter at Forever91. You guys take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys next week where we will be talking about ECW One Night Stand 2005. First, that will be the next pay-per-view review. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.